Total War Warhammer 3 is a strategy game where you can rule a civilization of lizard people and send dozens of gigantic dinosaurs into combat with rat people, goth girls, or dozens of other factions. Overall, I give it a 0 out of 10. Not enough dinosaurs. Luckily, some brilliant modders came up with an ingenious idea. More dinosaurs. Today, I'll be using the Lost Calm Jurassic Normal mod to create the strongest possible army of dinosaurs. Through the use of dark magics, animal abuse that would make a factory farm owner blush, and the release of massive quantities of carbon dioxide, these warm-blooded creatures with IQs above 5 and opposable thumbs have near completely destroyed what was once our beautiful planet. The lizardmen have proven less than capable of rectifying this on their own. Fortunately, they have a secret weapon of incredible power: egg. Across the globe, there are hidden stashes of ancient dinosaur eggs that we can use to bring these prehistoric creatures back from the dead in the pursuit of wealth and power. I'm sure absolutely nothing could go wrong here. One very minor inconvenience that we'll need to deal with is that there are 2 maximum difficulty endgame crises starting on turn 10. If you couldn't tell by the name, normally the endgame crises do not start on turn 10. But because that's only mildly terrifying, I'm also playing on very hard difficulty and giving the AI the maximum possible buffs. To avoid immediately dying, we'll be playing as Gorok, because he is extremely overpowered. The main reason he's overpowered is that Gorok starts with Lord Kroak, the angriest frog in the multiverse. For the low cost of 7 winds of magic, Kroak can make 1 unit of enemies go boom. For 20 winds of magic though, he can make an entire goddamn army go boom. We begin in the heart of Lustria, also known as the armpit of the world, with a fairly decent army that, for once, I don't need to immediately disband. The one big addition from the mod at this point is that we have caravans. This mechanic is pretty directly repurposed from the Chaos Dwarves, but instead of trading gold, weapons, and labor, our caravans have one purpose: acquire egg. I sent my first caravan out immediately, and if all goes well, we'll be able to get some awesome dinosaurs in a few turns. In the meantime, however, these sentient biohazards who worship the god of not wiping your ass have decided to set up shop on the edge of our territory. This simply will not do. Lord Kroak wasn't always called Lord Kroak, but everyone he's ever fought has croaked before they could finish saying his name, so eventually it stuck. Gorok, on the other hand, isn't exceptional at killing things, but all he needs to do is hold the enemy in place while Kroak reduces them to atoms. One recurring theme throughout the next several turns is that our enemies end up very dead, while we're left completely unscathed. We took both of the settlements from these stinky lads without any real trouble, although we did catch the plague after getting covered in their entrails. It's a slowing plague too, shit. By turn 5, our caravan accomplished its mission. Just don't ask how the eggs turned into dinosaurs instantly. 2 Omnicanths and 1 Cryptonoth. I have no idea what these are, but fortunately these lab rats have given us the perfect opportunity to test them. The Cryptonoth is very big and very spiky, while the Omnicanths look like a rhinoceros fucked a chameleon. These are definitely just dinosaurs though. No foreign DNA made its way into those eggs. At all. The Omnicanths have the very awesome ability to knock down walls, and to my great surprise, it turns out that these dinosaurs are slightly stronger than the clam rats. Now we want to get a second convoy going as fast as possible to a separate egg harvesting site, both to acquire a variety of the dinos and to eventually unlock the Gigantosaurus Rex. We can send a caravan on a mission to capture this big, beautiful bastard, but only after we send at least 1 expedition to each of the sites. We got the option to kill some narcissistic knife ears and also get some extra dino eggs, which is my perfect definition of a win-win scenario. This also gave us a free banner that reduces the upkeep of all of our dinos by 10% in one army, which brought our economy from extremely terrible to only mildly terrible. And over the end turn, we managed to corner a few thousand Skaven slaves. It appears that they've made quite a large strategic development though. They've left their old line-based tactics in the past and embraced the new and innovative column. This didn't help them at all. It didn't even slow us down. We got the option to fight Gorok's quest battle on turn 7, which I decided to do immediately, because we've got to level up rapidly to have any chance of surviving the endgame crisis. This is an extremely chaotic 3v3 battle where 2 AI armies of lizard boys are fighting 2 armies of zombie pirates, while we're pitted against an army of extremely heavily armed Skaven. I dealt with the Skaven the way I deal with all of my problems, by running away from them and trying to forget that they exist. We were able to crush the zombies while sending the rats on a wild dinosaur chase, place, but the second lizard army barely survived its battle, and Luther Harkin, one of the strongest legendary lords in the game, came in off the top ropes and dumpstered us extremely quickly. We may have lost this battle, but losing only 3 units and gaining 10,000 experience certainly cushioned the blow. We grabbed Lightning Strike on Gorok, which allows him to force 1v1 battles as long as his army is attacking. This single-handedly turns surviving the endgame crisis from an impossible task into a merely borderline impossible task. We took most of the Plague Rat settlements, and by turn 10, it begins. The vampire endgame crisis starts instantly, but thankfully none of them are too close to us. Yet. Unlike every other faction's endgame crisis though, the Skaven don't immediately conjure dozens of extraordinarily powerful armies out of the ether. Instead, they simply invest several $1 billion worth of gold and unregulated stimulants into public transportation, specifically the New York subway system. This allows them to instantly establish stations, also known as undercities, under every single one of my goddamn settlements. They use these for several things: stealing our gold, giving their nearby armies buffs, developing the most unethical weaponry that the world has ever seen, and most concerningly, fucking the shit out of each other. You see, when you have an infestation of 2 rats, those 4 rats can occasionally expand their population. As long as you're only starting with 16 rats though, the 256 rats really won't become a serious problem too quickly. Just limit their access to food, and your minor problem of 65,536 rats will... oh dear. It might be a good idea to start getting rid of these undercities soon. Unfortunately, exterminators are expensive, and we don't have a lot of gold. Let's just hope for the best. Our second round of explicitly non-genetically modified dinosaur eggs contained 1 dinosaur, a few lizard bats, and about 500 turtles. This turned out to be very important right now, because although their main force is still yet to emerge from the sewers and various other orifices in the ground, Skrollkir has got his hands on several extremely powerful armies. That is one of the balance of powers of all time. To have any chance to protect our northern front and not get our shit kicked in irreparably, I sacrificed 12,000 gold and the tattered remains of my soul to summon a Rite of Primeval Glory army. To understand what a Rite of Primeval Glory army is, imagine an army. Then imagine feeding that entire army to feral dinosaurs. And our economy is instantly fucked, and this is not even a good Rite of Primeval Glory army. One big brain maneuver that will probably get us investigated by the FTC is selling settlements that we are guaranteed to lose next turn. Instead of just losing gold and territory, we gain a shit ton of gold and alliances without losing any more territory than we otherwise would. I made one very minor oversight when moving Gorok's army and left them exhausted in force march in the perfect spot to get ambushed by the Skaven. Fortunately, because I'm only 90% stupid, the rats had to attack me with their smaller army while their larger one reinforced. Still though, this battle should be impossible, if not for the gigantic humanoid ghost frog god that can summon dozens of thermonuclear explosions at will. This is the edge of the map. This is a wall of our units, and this is why we're trapping them between them. What's worse than being trapped between an unstoppable force and an immovable object? This. Definitely this. This is a lot worse than that. I may not be good at, like, the thinking or the planning or anything like that, but when it comes to coming up with a really quick idea for how to win a battle that I should not be able to win, I am pretty good. I am pretty good at that one thing. We killed that first endgame crisis army, which is great, but they have at least one more down here and a few more up there, so our survival is still far from guaranteed. To deal with this army, wait, fuck, that's 2 armies. The second one was hiding in an ambush behind the first one. Whatever, we'll just lightning strike it, it's fine. Especially because I prepared my secret weapons. Turtles. And strapping a big-ass plasma gun to the back of this big-ass dinosaur. These 2 units are genuinely the only reason that I won this battle. The giant gun does an insane amount of damage, as you would probably expect. It basically deletes any enemy infantry in one shot. The turtles, on the other hand, simply sit there and refuse to die. Once they curl up into their shells, they can get attacked dozens of times by some of the strongest monsters in the game and walk away unscathed. Want to charge my ranged units? Nope. Turtles. Want to not get held in place and disintegrated by Kroak? Nope. Turtles. Want your dad to come back from the store after he left to get milk 15 years ago? Nope. That one wasn't the turtles though. A T-Rex ate him. And now for the third extremely overpowered army. I've started to really refine our complex and intellectually demanding strategy here. We use this and this to make them go boom, then distract 90% of them with the turtles, and use the rest of our lovable band of cold-blooded misfits to simultaneously hit them in the face and bite them in the ass. This worked. Barely. We're almost sort of safe to the south now, and to the north we set up an ambush with an 80% chance to... Wait, no fuck, they spotted our ambush and ambushed us instead. God damn it. Luckily, unlike a normal army that has all sorts of vulnerable units like cannons, guns, or whatever the hell these are, the dinosaurs don't really give a shit about being ambushed. In this one, though, the Skaven just gave away their position when they were halfway across the Amazon rainforest, which would have stopped them from benefiting from the ambush anyways. They sent up some gigantic rats, which made a perfect snack for the Carnosaurs. This is when I made a few minor strategic blunders. They have a lot of guns, and these guns in particular are fucking 50 cal radioactive snipers. Now, in my overwhelming genius, I thought it would be a good idea to have two of the Carnosaurs run towards these in the largest open field on the map with perfect sightlines. Now that I had several less dinosaurs to worry about feeding though, I had a bit more brainpower freed up to actually win this battle. See these trees? If we go behind them, then perhaps we won't all get shot to death. Because these trees are very dense, the rats were forced to charge us and send their sniper rifles into hand-to-dinosaur combat, which went about as well as you'd expect. In a frankly diabolical maneuver that may or may not get us assassinated by the CIA, I confederated these worthless pieces of shit, fed them to the dinosaurs, then sold one of their settlements to the baguette fuckers in exchange for 3,000 gold and making Luther Harkin a pain in their ass instead of ours. One loose end, 2 settlements, and 3 parasaurs later, the rancid rodents were on their last legs, and we got a good chance to test the parasaurs. They sort of just belly flop onto the enemy, which, although extremely dumb, does appear to be effective. Also, Kroak made rats go boom. Very satisfying. Then all we had to do was attack... Why the hell can't I move? I assume it was the overlap of these armies that just prevented me from moving. At all. But one involuntary vacation to Cathay later... no, I don't want to take a fucking vacation over here again. God damn you. We were actually able to move again and attack this. Yes, we can move now. Beautiful. This army is becoming a problem. We have all sorts of different units that all require different playstyles, and they are not working well together. The skinks want to run away while shooting them in the dick, Kroak, the big dinos, and the turtles want to make a big blob go boom, and all the other dipshits want to flank them in completely different ways that are more or less impossible for my little brain cells to handle simultaneously. We did win this battle, but it hurt me. Not just the army. Me. I sacked the settlement instead of occupying it because apparently the rats spawn all the way over here if we wipe them out fully. Thankfully, I definitely knew that the first time. The time of the rats begins! By merging our two armies, we were able to make Goroks less wretchedly painful to micro. But after recruiting everything we could immediately, our second army is effectively 20 random dinosaurs stuffed into a fucking clown car. Now, there may be 8 nauseatingly painful armies of rats with various implements of mass destruction here, but they have made one fundamental mistake. While they were studying the blade, the bomb, the gun, and this, our dinosaurs dedicated their literally, but not figuratively, humongous brains to studying the only thing that matters. The bonk. Now you're probably thinking, brilliant, what do you mean studying the bonk? All they do is hit things. Shut the fuck up. The bonk is a complex art form with many variations. For example, the solar engine on the back of the Cryptonoth channels pure bonk energy into a projectile, while the Stegosaurus harnesses the bonk to move forward unimpeded. Some higher-level bonk masters have even begun attempting aerial bonks, and let's not forget, the bonk weaver himself. His name is long forgotten, but he still remains. Lord Kroak, God Master of the Bonk, who can generate bonk shockwaves so extreme that they fucking killed him and turned him into a ghost or whatever this is. In a monumental feat of military might, we won this battle and used this magical bonk reversal crystal to heal our boo-boos by tormenting a single Skaven into staying on the battlefield so that we could fully heal. Now, at long last, we have defeated the... Oh yeah, there's still 7 more armies. About 2 real hours of pain, suffering, and meticulous damage avoidance later, I have defeated 5 of their armies. The mathematical geniuses among you may have realized that we have a fucking problem here. We're out of movement range on Gorok's army, and therefore pretty much screwed, but there are two reasons that we might not be completely dead here. The first is that the lizardmen get an absurd number of extremely overpowered regiments of renown that, although they're ludicrously expensive, can be recruited instantly. These are balanced around normal people with normal brains playing the game normally, so you unlock the best ones super late in the game once one of your lords hits level 30. Because I'm mentally unstable enough to fight 5 endgame armies back-to-back on turn 20, Gorok has already hit level 30. So for every dinosaur we lost, we immediately replaced it with a bigger, scarier dinosaur. The second reason that we might survive is that our second army has some movement range left. Now, in theory, that's great, but this army doesn't have Lightning Strike, and it has what may be the worst possible army composition. This is bad. If I hadn't just fought half a dozen difficult battles non-stop and won all of them, I might have come up with a plan here, or attempted to use my units efficiently. I did not do either of those things. Now, to be fair, with the Regiments of Renown replacing several normal units in Gorok's army, both of our armies look like they were designed by someone with the mental capacity of a 5-year-old. I mean, they were. It's more noticeable than normal though. Thankfully, because after this, Kroak only has 2 undamaged armies, I was able to get away with maximum bonk, minimum thonk. Big dino charge, big dino smash, rats become very dead. Some dinos also become very dead when I leave them sitting still and getting shot for 5 minutes straight, but let's not focus on that. Over the end turn, our second army immediately got ambushed and nearly wiped out. But our brave, glorious turtles saved the day by getting murdered slowly while the rest of our army retreated. This is one of the hardest battles I have ever fought. I liked the turtles before this battle, but this is the hardest carry I have ever seen by a small number of units. 3 normal units of turtles, 1 unit of turtles with 50 cal snipers that we stole from the rats strapped to their backs, and 2 beautiful choke points. We parked these fuckers here with Gorok and the Thunderous One, while Kroak, our big bonk cannon, and a new C-beam engine turned the enemy into every form of matter other than alive. I don't know what the C-beam engine is or how it works, but I do know that I don't want it pointed at me. This is the balance of power once all the rats came into the battlefield, and this is it after I nearly got the Thunderous One killed due to my greed and stupidity. Lots of rats, small choke point, large explosions, brave turtles. 3.5 minutes after this, we won this fucking battle. The Thunderous One and another Stegodon died, and I used all of our healing on the Shredder of Lustria, who promptly got shot in the face, but this was still an absurdly heroic victory. It took a lot of cleanup, but by turn 23, we wiped out Clan Pestilence entirely. Now all that's left is to conquer the entirety of Lustria. The other rats weren't empowered by the endgame crisis, but they were still a gigantic pain in the ass to deal with. They kept sneaking up on me and stealing my settlements, but I did eventually eradicate them without too many issues. From this point, I was essentially required to betray my closest allies and steal all of their territory. I broke my pacts with the French and these, but before I dealt with them, my convoy was attacked by several hundred extremely inbred xenomorphs. They're some of the most intimidating units I've ever seen in this game, but they folded like wet noodles with a simple rear charge. Back to Lustria, we fought a ton of lizard boys and tested out some Pokemon, chickens, and baby T-Rexes. They were all highly effective. To the north, I finally got the chance to not spend 30 minutes fighting a battle, and then both in the north and the south, I reached a point where I was absolutely steamrolling pretty much everything. But finally, it's time to recruit the Gigantosaurus Rex. I managed to send a convoy to every egg harvesting site and complete several battles to unlock the final battle for this magnificent beast. Wow. That is literally just the T-Rex from Jurassic Park. This big, beautiful bastard is absolutely glorious. It devours everything it encounters extremely quickly. 12 out of 10, no notes. I just love that someone took a look at the fucking Carnosaur and was like, nope, not big enough, not enough damage, not strong enough. We need a goddamned T-Rex. Throughout the rest of my reconstruction of Lustria, there was only one truly worthwhile moment. The most diabolical diplomatic scheme in the history of diabolical diplomatic schemes. I got 12,000 gold for peace with the Cowardly Lizards and also got peace with the Escargot Enjoyers, because these sneaky little shits were trying to avoid my army and attack my territory behind me. Under the guise of peace and friendship, they returned to their home, only to be immediately massacred by my glorious army of gigantic dinosaurs. Because our reliability was already completely fucked, I also betrayed the lizards, only to get another 6k gold from them for another peace treaty, which I promptly broke again. The fact that we can instantly recruit full armies of overpowered units made conquering the rest of Lustria fairly easy. We achieved a long victory by turn 67 and turned it into a glorious petting zoo with the ingenious name Dinosaur Island Park. I have come to present you with the best trade deal in the history of both trading and deals. You click the red rectangle to make the number get bigger, and I will stop slowly releasing carbon monoxide into your walls. Initially, this video was going to be Slayer only, but someone made a good point that there might be a bunch of Slayer content added in the next DLC, as it covers the dwarves. Also, I found this mod a few weeks ago, and it's definitely one of my favorites. It's made by Rokes, something like that, and Common Normal Time, and you can check it out on the Steam Workshop. Peace out.